Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Phase 2 of the Summit 3 SEA qualifiers. We've got 8 teams entering this bracket. Only one, that's right, only one will make it here to LA for the LAN finals to compete for $120,000 and rising in prize money. I'm LD. I'm joined here by GoDz. Hey GoDz, how you doing?
I'm doing good. It's always nice to kind of get back to our roots, cast some SEA Dota. It's always some fun games, some exciting games. They're kind of a bit reminiscent of like the CIS Dota, a lot of aggression, some clowny plays, but also some very high-level plays as well. So I'm looking forward to the Summit SEA over the next week or two.
Yeah, I've been really excited actually watching some of the NA games lately, but SEA, that's where our hearts lie. That's where we got our start, and, well, only one of these teams can make it, but Rave coming into this match, they will probably be the favorites for the qualifier, though that could change quickly. Looking at their matches since DAC, GoDz, they have lost 4 of their last 10, so as good as they looked at DAC, we do have to remember they barely made it through the tiebreakers. They almost didn't even get into the main event, and then they made a run. They had a really good run. It was impressive, but when it comes to SEA Dota, there is no EG. There is no top dog. Everybody can pretty much beat everybody.
Yeah, the SEA team's always been a bit strange in that sense. Even like the dominant SEA teams in the past, like Orange Esports, they'd go and do well in international competitions, but in their home soil and SEA only tournaments, they would sometimes lose games versus teams that on paper they should beat. So me coming into this kind of 8-team bracket here, I see Rave as the favorites, but by no means heavy favorites. Like I would not give them like a huge odds over any other team in this bracket.
Now that said, MVP.Hot6 did just make a roster swap, but we do not have their new 5th player here yet. Jerax is on his way to Korea, but he has not arrived yet, so as you mentioned in your recent tweet, it's going to be a tough one for them. I'm not sure, are they using a stand-in, or is it just their old 5th player who's yet to officially leave the team?
This is the player they were using during Phase 1, Lost,
okay.
Who, I mean, I guess is kind of their old 5th player. Their old 5 was with some SEA players. They had Roji, who was like a Malaysian player. They've had even Musica play for them, who's like a Singaporean Australian player. So he's only played for them for a very short amount of time, and I think it was just like a temporary kind of stand-in situation.
Okay, well, let's see how they do. For now, draft's underway. We can dig into it a little bit, and we are seeing some interesting changes in the draft. You and I have been casting, or at least I have been casting, a lot of European Dota the past week. Some of these bans you are not seeing right now in European Dota. Skywrath first phase, that is not a common ban at all. Used to be, no longer. And the Storm Spirit first phase banned by MVP. I mean, a hero that on paper there are a lot of counters for, but MVP giving Rave some big respect with that ban.
Yeah, I guess the teams, they've been playing a lot more competitions as of late. There's a lot of footage on Rave if you look at DAC and even since then. And MVP.Hot6, similar story now that they're playing more actively, trying to make their big run leading up to TI5. Obviously, all the teams are trying to stabilize now. We're going to see maybe some, within the SEA scene, like its own little metagame developing since these teams are playing each other so often. And we'll see the Batrider first pick by Rave. Not a big surprise there. And Hot6, with Venge banned out, have to go for the Disruptor as their kind of pseudo-counter, or at least one hero that can deal with the Batrider fairly well, at least to some extent.
Yeah, a hero that Ninjas in Pajamas, I think, from Europe has really shown is not just strong in situationally, but can be strong like no matter what, if you have a player who really understands the hero. And, well, in this case, great against the lasso, especially once you level up that glimpse. It has really good range, as you mentioned, to counter-initiate. Going for the Veno here, I imagine, will be a core Veno, so kind of putting their cards on the table a little bit early. In theory, it could be a support, but then you have 2 supports that have no proper lockdown. So moving along through the bans, Rave, seeing that there's no offlaner picked up, are going to remove a Clockwork and a Beastmaster, while it's Hot6's turn to take out the Dusa. With that said, I guess just heroes they don't want to deal with more than anything. The Storm, the Medusa, 2 heroes that on paper there are solutions for, but I think more than anything, MVP.Hot6 just giving Rave some respect here with their bans.
Yeah, 5-man around the Medusa, very, very annoying stuff. And they've already picked up one of the heroes that is at least a kind of good, one of the kind of counters to the Medusa in the line with some mana drain there. So if you don't really want to fit something, a Nyx or an Quasworks Invoker into draft, it is hard to play against it. Hot6, though, they get themselves an EO here, so we could be seeing some Wisp Tiny action, or maybe just kind of a casual Wisp to pair with some other kind of carry option here. But Tiny, the big one that stands out every time you see the Wisp.
All right, Wisp will be the choice, and if you didn't already, make sure that your Dota TV audio is turned on, buddy.
I saw those comments and I looked. I went to my settings. It said Dota TV audio is being picked up, so I toggled it off and on. So if you guys are listening on stream or have a Dota TV ticket, try and change channel, come back, and hopefully it works then. Because
yeah, you may even need to just like leave the game and reconnect as kind of your fail-safe option.
All right, I'm gonna reconnect or restart Dota 2.
Oh, I meant for the viewers, but okay, you can reconnect too.
Just to be on the safe side, LD.
All right, well. Better safe than sorry. It's the LGD way. No LGD in this game, though. Rave now, third pick coming out. We'll have to see what direction they want to go. They've been looking at some of the recent matches. There has been a lot of Storm, a lot of Medusa. Of course, they like to run that Invoker at times. But with this pick, it'll be a Witch Doctor. So not really laying their cards on the table too much. Just kind of a well-rounded support pick. And now the Tiny comes out. So no huge surprises here. You got the Wisp. You're going to go for that Tiny next.
Oh, they did get the Tiny, you said?
Yeah, so they go for the Tiny Wisp. They're up against a Witch Doctor, and of course the cast can be really strong against this duo.
Yeah, so I feel like Rave at least have some options already prepared. Batrider good at kind of isolating here, and theoretically you can not easily, but you can definitely break the tether by using a Lasso Falstaff and even a Flame Break to kind of try and split up the IO Tiny if they are kind of connected in a fight, or if you're trying to go in for a gank. So that's one option, and also just a good hero to try and scout out an IO who's often hiding in trees behind a Tiny, looking to use that split push power to relocate the Tiny out at the last minute. So another kind of just good scouting option that Rave have here. Rave completely hiding their main course here. They're going to go for a Puck as their mid hero, and we'll see what their carry is going to be. But that for now, MVP.Hot6 is going to be left guessing.
Yeah, look at some of the other carries that MVP, or that Rave have been running, I should say. Aside from the Medusa, there has been a Troll pick here. There also, I think worth mentioning, Troll and Axe have both been ignored. And I feel like if this were a European match, especially with some of those top CIS teams, there's no way they get through this long. At least not without a team having a very specific reason for it. But as far as other carries go, Sniper also available. He's also been ignored. So there's a Sniper in the pool. Yeah. There's an anti-mage, something that Rave have turned to a bit as of late. And then there's some more niche picks, like a Tinker here or there. They've run a Drow Ranger, which in theory they could do with 4 ranged heroes. And MVP going to go ahead as I tab back into the game and ban that one out. So no Drow Ranger incoming.
One of the kind of popular, like, Troll as well as Jug is still in the pool. The Troll especially, I think, still a fairly strong option here. I guess you're slightly thinking of a carry that can kind of go BKB, which Troll can definitely do because of being able to fight Tiny Craggy. I feel Troll is not a bad option against a Tiny Juggernaut. Similarly, you can Omni Slash and actually look to bring down a Tiny in that fashion, and I feel one of those two carries is kind of like your standard pickup here if you're Rave, but Rave normally go their own style, and that's where the Drow ban, I think, kind of suits the teams and is much more of a targeted ban at Rave and what they like to play. Not to mention, Drow Aura with a Puck and Batrider as your other two cores fits in with some nice synergy.
All right, MVP going for the Legion Commander. I like this in the sense that whenever you see a team run Tiny Wisp, you really want to have that one hero that can start the gank. You don't want the Tiny Wisp to go in first. You want like your Axe. Legion Commander also fits the bill. But they don't really have great burst outside of the Tiny combo here. Right now, all they're working with is the Tiny Wisp Nuke Bomb, and outside of that, it's going to be difficult to burst heroes down during this duel. That said, Rave don't really have great solutions for the duel. There's no disruption. I guess potentially a Flame Break could disrupt it a little bit. Maybe they get that Lion Hex off, but, well, Rave go into an Anti-Mage now, so
right.
A hero that MVP have pretty good lockdown for, I have to say. They've got the Glimpse Static Storm, they've got the Legion Commander duel. If they can get their farm up on those two, then it's not a guarantee that Jo won't get picked off when he's split pushing.
Yeah, they have ways of doing the anti-mage. I guess the main thing is they're not going to be able to hurt him in the laning stage. So MVP.Hot6 are going to have to make sure they get a lot out of their safe lane and they have a good mid-game with the Wisp Tiny. And even just theoretically, the laning stage goes well for the Wisp Tiny because anti-mage is likely to free farm away. I don't think there's going to be any kind of pressure coming up from MVP.Hot6 in the laning stage. I guess theoretically they could do something like a Wisp Legion there, but they want the Wisp at the Tiny, most likely mid lane.
All right, we have a quick pause here. Wouldn't be Dota without one to start the game off, but hopefully it will be a brief one. Each team is allowed 10 minutes of pauses for the game, so hopefully they get sorted out quickly. We've got Chrissy going to be handling your Batrider for Rave. We'll introduce them first. Jo on the anti-mage. He's rather hooded out here, looking auspicious, as his hood is named. But the Clergy Ascetic. Ninja Boogie going to be playing your Lion. It's Ryo on the puck, and of course Cast, the captain, the drafter. He'll be on the Witch Doctor. And as for MVP.Hot6, a team that's in the midst of some roster changes. You've got Forev handling your Tiny. Lost going to be playing that Venomancer. Heen, of course, on the Io. It puts Baton onto the Legion Commander, and it does leave Dubu on the Disruptor.
Okay. Is this JO weapon of his, the Ascendant Arc of Manta? I have not seen this before. Is this new, or am I just...
JO's...
His anti-mage weapon. I didn't even know this existed.
This might be a DAC mythical.
Or even like some Nexon craziness.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, actually it might be a Nexon item, because I don't think I've seen it before either.
Arcs of Manta pack. Okay, it's $8 on the Steam market, for those of you interested. Let's get some Valve sellout going on here, but yeah.
How much did Nexon just pay you for that plug?
I don't know if it's a Nexon one. I'm not sure, but he put his little bloodstone on it as well, which is why it's the Ascendant one. So I guess that's why it looked even more different than normal.
All right, well, we're going to see Rave defending their jungle for now. They drop down the ward near the top rune. They've actually got a quad stack just chilling here. In the meantime, Chrissy does rotate towards bottom. He'll deploy a ward to block this pull camp and get some good vision, and he gets it there without anyone from MVP.Hot6 spotting him out. In the meantime, MVP.Hot6 with a similar ward up towards the top side of the map is Jo. Well, he's got some cojones here. He's just going to walk up the ramp, no fear from him, and start making his way up towards the enemy Ancients, just trying to see what they're up to. And of course, nobody really poking their head out just yet.
It's a good move. You can see if there's any traps laid out to try and, like, 5-man contest the top rune here. And Anti-Mage, unlikely to go down. The only stun is an Avalanche, which they can't really burst him down during. You can always blink out, get tethered, and be well on his way. So bottom rune will be secured by MVP.Hot6. The Wisp going to be rushing a bottle with no money spent to start things off. And looks like the top bounty rune going to be secured by Ryu. So that's going to give Ryu a bit of an edge in the mid lane. As far as having a bounty rune to actually get him a fast level 2. You'll have the Orb as well as the Phase Shift, but cannot dodge Avalanche with level 1 Phase Shift, which is going to make things a bit difficult for him in the mid lane.
Yeah, it's at the same time, they're not likely to be able to kill you at level 1 unless you get tossed. If you get tossed back into a tower with your Orb down or something, that could cause problems. But outside of that, should be able to Orb away for the most part. So, well, we'll have another pause here. First, it was the mic. Now it's the monitor. I suppose next will be the keyboard and the mouse.
Got my stopwatch going, LD. This is... I'm ready for this. 10 minutes is up. Let's go.
It's been probably a minute and a half or so total, so I've got a little time to burn here, but not too much.
So we'll see how things pan out here. Game 1, the opening. MVP.Hot6, kind of mentioned a bit, they are underdogs, and I feel like their run through Phase 1 was far from convincing. Honestly, they're a team I didn't actually necessarily expect to make it out of Phase 1. The fact they got there, I think, was kind of an accomplishment itself. Beating First Departure in the first round. Not the same First Departure with Miracle, but still some probably slightly more experienced and kind of more well-recognized players. And then taking out NVIDIA Aces, which is the Vietnamese squad, who's been doing reasonably well. I feel like both those matches are kind of close matches, but very loose. I mean, both series went 2-1, so I feel like MVP.Hot6 far from dominant in Phase 1 and likely to kind of struggle here against Rave unless they bring something kind of special.
Well, Tiny Whisk can be that special. You know, you just get a killer 2 mid, and all of a sudden, it gets out of hand quickly.
Yeah. I've seen Ryu's puck do some crazy things. That game against EG at DAC, where he was styling all over them in the mid lane, was one of my favorite moments from DAC. Interesting that Ryu's back on mid lane, because after like the group stage of DAC, it was almost entirely Chrissy playing mid lane with Ryu back in the off lane, but it looks like they're going to kind of continue to at least swap things up a bit.
Yeah, and I suppose it is worth mentioning, like, as far as the Tiny Whisk goes, that they have a lot of control for these two. Puck really good at assassinating that Wisp, just fighting him in the backlines and blowing him up quickly, disrupting the relocate saves. You've also got good gap closers with the Bat Rider, the Anti-Mage, so even if the Tiny Whisk get big, it's not going to be enough if they're the only 2 farmed and the rest of the team is way behind. They'll need everybody to step up here as we can get underway with our lanes. It's a Bat Rider off lane. He's going to take a little harassment from a level 1 Thunderstrike, but shouldn't be in any danger here early on with the farming Venomancer. Fairly low kill potential in this lane, I would say.
Yeah, he'd just love to get that level 2 so he could go back to the jungle and kind of looking to be just as efficient as possible, get as much XP as you can out of your off lane, and then go back to that jungle when possible. Already the stacks have begun. Ninja Boogie getting that double stack on the big camp, which the Batrider will definitely be looking to use as early as possible.
Then Anti-Mage free farming top lane, as you would pretty much expect. Jo not going to be under much harassment here from the offlane Legion, so he should get free farm. The Veno will get free farm. Of course, if that's the straight trade, then you're going to be pretty happy to have that Anti-Mage, and well, that's where the Tiny Wisp will look to make up for it. They have broken down the trees. They've already gotten a double stack off at both camps, so off to a nice start here for Heen on the support Wisp. Of course, an old MVP Phoenix player who's now made his way to a new MVP home, but it's got to be a little disappointing that things didn't work out for them after that promising performance they had at Star Ladder.
Yeah, and Forev has been really impressive during the Phase 1. A couple of those games where it looked like they're going to lose, he just put his team on his back with his carry role, some really impressive Juggernaut play. So this is definitely... I feel like MVP.Hot6 is coming out stronger as a result of these changes. And MVP Phoenix, while they're not... I don't know if they're going to be stronger necessarily. It's a change that felt like they were needed because the team was just kind of stagnant and not really changing or growing for the better. So I feel like both MVP squads are going to be, at least short-term, looking really good, and then we'll have to see what happens with MVP Phoenix especially, with some of the new blood they brought in.
Well, mid lane, Ryo got chucked, but there was no follow-up there, no mana for the level 1 Avalanche. Not really enough to get the kill on that puck anyway, but just threatening him, letting him know that if he's not nice and friendly, that they'll give him a love tap he might not appreciate too much. He'll bottle Crow, he'll just sit back and get his levels for now, and not really doing much to shut down the Tiny, who is sitting at 11 CS, and they're getting their stacks up freely. But at the same time, as long as he doesn't die and gets some farm, that's really all you can ask for.
Yeah, so Ninja Boogie, triple stack in the jungle, just missed the quad stack, which would have been really nice for Chrissy, because Chrissy's getting a ton of XP out of this offlane. I feel like he's almost getting way too much out of this. So the trade-off is, at the same time, LC at the offlane getting a similar amount of XP, and even farm as well. 7 CS on the LC, although that's probably going to change for the better for the Batrider when he can go back and farm those stacks. Bottom lane, a bit of engagement. Chrissy manning up, has 5 stacks onto MP's Venomancer, but
I don't know if they want to chase him through the Firefly. That's a little bit dangerous. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, though, your first blood might come out the puck.
They got the glimpse back.
Barely able to orb away, and in the end, the puck narrowly survives. They do end up getting that first blood on the Batrider. It is a 1-for-1, and the Disruptor almost has to go base already, but still, first blood on the board for Hot6. A narrow escape there in the end to grab that one.
Yeah, for Bat, doesn't get XP, slightly unfortunate, but he gets money. So I think for the Batrider, that was still a so-so trade.
And he's got stacks. He's got some fat stacks here.
He's got insane stacks there, which
is a lot of mud golems though. This is not ideal.
Yeah, not ideal at all. But still, I guess the big camp there with the triple stack is pretty nice, and whenever he's ready to, he'll go back. But for now, staying bottom lane, kind of confident that he can get enough XP and farm to justify it. Disruptor denying to neutrals, but that's just looking to kind of speed up the healing process, and he kind of spent all his gold before he did so.
Yeah, Tiny already with the treads online. Of course, his stacks are also ready to go. Both teams likely to employ some stack Dota as Ryo will retreat out, but as this Tiny gets towards level 5, you can see the kill potential really does ramp up. One good Avalanche toss combo, and he's done for. He's got to play this one close to the vest.
If you're Rave here, are you even considering leaving these stacks for the anti-mage to get him like super insane power farm, or because Barra is getting a lot out of the offlane, or do you think it's going to be for the Bat Blink?
I feel like it should be for the Bat Blink, since your puck's not getting a lot of farm mid, and somebody's got to create space, right? Like, if the anti-mage gets fat, I guess that at the same time, there's not much to gank him. Huh. It's a kind of a tough call. You won't be putting any pressure on the Tiny Wisp without a Bat Blink is the main issue,
yeah.
So.
Oh, the Bat Mage just farmed the enemy stacks!
Oh, no. Chrissy, level 5. This is so next level.
Smokes in and everything.
Oh, this is Grand Theft stacks.
LC finds the dire stacks, but he's like, wait, Bat's not here.
Oh no.
Where's Bat, guys?
They're too busy fighting. They want this fresh blood. Ryo's maybe gonna get caught out here. They'll chuck in that wisp. They don't get the tether slow, it looks like, as the tether broke before the chuck landed. Now a 2-hero avalanche, and out comes the Legion Commander Nuke, but nobody dead just yet. Now Ninja Boogie tossed all around. He'll end up falling, but it looks like they did manage to steal all of those stacks. 600 plus gold into the pockets of your Batrider. Dare I say it, GoDz? That is well worth it. They rotate 4 heroes, and they only get a lion kill in exchange for losing all of their stacks.
I wonder if Forever is going to go look to trade Stack Steel for Stack Steel. They've scouted out this big double camp here. Wisp has bottle charges, so Tiny has enough mana for a combo. LC doesn't have enough mana for an overwhelming odds, but they could theoretically look to steal these dire stacks at the same time. At least the big camp. Probably not any of those medium camps that will take them too long, and the Mud Golem's going to be problematic, but could be a situation where, well, they're going to make up for their lost stacks by getting some of their own.
Yeah, MVP.Hot6 for now. Just going to wait this one out. Rave continue to have some Ninja Boogie issues, unfortunately. Now the PC needs a restart. His monitor, now his PC. Earlier we had the microphone. What do you think is going to be next? You want to play some bets on that, GoDz?
What has not come up? We need a complete pause game bingo. You know, you got your whole score sheet. You've got to get everything there. You need some DDoS issues. You need some server lag. There's a few things we're yet to cross off yet, but we're getting there. LT. This is just day one. We're working out the kinks. Well, day one as far as phase 2 of SEA goes. We had phase 1, and fingers crossed things going to go smoothly over the next 8 days. I think it's 8 days. Sounds about right. Of phase 2. Actually, that's a crazy thing. Like I like how this format and schedule works because this is just 8 days in a row of SEA action, and by the end of it, you know which team's going. It's not like spread throughout the next month or so. There's games going throughout the month, but each qualifier is like going by one at a time. So you know the SEA team, and then you move on to the next region. Then you find out who's going to be. I think the Europe team is the second region. So just region by region.
And then in the case of SEA, it's especially nice because last summit, as I'm sure many of you remember, First Departure qualified, but it turned out that Miracle was unable to attend due to military service commitments, and I think one other player also had issues. So with that in mind, we're hoping this time around that if a team is in that situation where they either can't get visas or can't attend, that they'll have ample time for us to find a replacement to ensure that we do have SEA representation at the summit. I think we were all really disappointed that First Departure couldn't make it, but we hope to avoid that with this scheduling and format. And along with that, like you said, I mean, frankly, round robin BO1s are they're okay if it's a hype event like TI, but for an online qualifier, it's like the worst possible format. The reason that other events have used it in the past is it's just easier to schedule. It's way easier to get the games played, but it seems like all the teams are on board with the bracket format, and everyone's confirmed all schedules for all regions, so knocking on wood that remains the case as we continue to wait. Rave's technical issues do persist.
So things looking really good for Rave right now. Like gold difference is not too crazy, but like your safe lane Venno, you compare his CS to the Anti-Mage, Anti-Mage is almost double his CS, and that's where that Batrider dying and killing the Venomancer with him worked out really nicely, even though the first blood did go the way of the Venomancer himself. Just kind of takes him out of the lane, kind of slows down his farm. Anti-Mage has been free farming away. And on top of that, Batrider is level 6.5 already. This is just insane level progression, as well as decent farm coming out with 1k gold after stealing that stack. And Anti-Mage, not just free farming, but he's going to pressure this tower. He's going to force heroes to rotate up here, which is going to give Bat more space to take enemy jungle, farm his own lane, Puck to get his Blink Dagger up. So big picture-wise, Rave is doing fantastic here. It's going to be kind of MVP who aren't quite on track as far as getting their core items at the times they ideally want them.
Well, we do on pause now. We get back underway. And yeah, just to reiterate what you said, GoDz, it might look close right now in terms of golden experience, but that is going to change soon. If Rave managed to farm these stacks up, they were warded. Maybe they can pressure them with a gank. I'm not sure who really does it at this stage of the game. They have no relocate yet, but in theory, maybe they gank them. But assuming they don't, they're going to be in a big hole once these get cleaned up. And, well, 3 heroes all working in tandem. Chrissy, going to farm up and get very close to his Blink Dagger, up to 1,600 gold and counting with that completed double set of stacks around the map. And the other thing is, this Tiny Wisp has not got a kill yet. As I say that, they get one. They dunk the puck mid lane.
The caster curse is real, and they're not done maybe. Looking for Ninja Boogie as well for him. Has to deal with the avalanche cooldown. The cask also going to slow him down, but back to the high ground. Not going to find anyone. Nice, aggressive Observer Ward in the enemy jungle just to help scout out those kind of rotations that may happen and also find those kills. So
yeah, at the same time, the Bat still farms up both camps. So 1,700 gold, Blink Dagger probably coming before 10 minutes. And you know, GoDz, I gotta say, safe lane Venno hasn't left the lane. He's not CSing as well as the Anti-Mage, but the real issue is he hasn't really threatened the tower at all. This tower is taking its first damage of the game right now. Maybe they could do a little bit more. They do have the catapult here. Glyph is available. I'm not sure who would come to defend this one, though. No TP on your Puck, your Batrider doesn't have Blink. They may just have to forfeit it. And again, mid lane, Ryo maybe in danger here. Barely able to retreat out that time around, but he's not having fun anymore. Now that Tiny's level 5, level 6, the lane gets a lot harder.
Yeah, I think Ryu can't be just straight rushing a Blink this game. He needs to get items to just give him some raw HP, because the Avalanche Toss combo is just so brutal for a Puck. Get treads, get a magic wand, and then work on the Blink. I feel like his survival is going to be more important than actually getting a fast Blink. Top lane, meanwhile, it's Jayo getting a kill with the help of the Lion, and that's another pick-me-up.
And now bottom rune, Ryo gonna secure a kill here on the Wisp at the bottom rune. So 2 heroes falling around the map here for MVP, and this is before the Batrider Blink comes online. He's got the gold in 14, just cleaning up one more medium camp. These pesky golems still running around being idiots, and the tower will be denied bottom as well. Oh no, from bad to worse here for MVP. Sure, it's still fairly close, in fact very close in terms of gold. Experience heavily going Rave's way, but even if that were dead even, when you look at what's coming next, this could be trouble. But they go for a tiny Blink here. Maybe this is the item that can kind of change the course of the game. He's not just going to try to trade farm. He is looking to get aggressive, set up kills around the map. This may catch Rave off guard. Let's see if they can make something happen with it.
I think realizing that who else is going to be setting up kills and being the tempo control in the mid game. LC's not really an initiator until he gets a Blink, which is not happening till at least 15 plus minutes. Venomancer is just kind of a sit in lane, pressure the lane, spam it out, get some farm, but not really do too much here. Tiny's the only hero that can be a playmaker. Blink, avalanche toss, mid lane, down goes your Puck. Ryu.
Oh man, that was brutal. And now top, onto Baton they'll go, they get the Hex off. They're going to lay down the Firefly. Want to hold that lasso if possible, and they will. Relocate's coming though. Tony's into house. Ninja Boogie, where are your spells at? Oh, doesn't need him because he jukes him. Forev now throws out the Avalanche. The tree's going to be cleared off. The toss comes out. It's not enough for a kill, though. Clubs him down one more time, but they lose their Wisp. The getaway car has been derailed. No more tires, no more air pressure as they chase the other direction. A Blink forward, but the Venoult comes out. Forev's fairly tanky here. This will force your anti-mage back cast. Gonna keep him healthy with that heal, but when the dust settles in the end, the Wisp dies, the Tiny also falls, and of course, at the start of that fight, the Legion Commander did go down. So it's a 2-for-1 there if you want to count the kill mid, a 2-for-2 around the map.
Yeah, and Ryu gets some good uncontested farm in the mid lane where he can kind of just safely work towards his next item. And Venomancer was pushed off a bottom lane, so he's not pressing the lane. He wasn't really getting too much farm during that time. That's just more kind of good news for Rave here. Ninja Boogie gets up to level 6 now as a result, so they get Finger of Death coming into play, and this is something very, very risky. Because if MVP ever goes on someone and lines around, he can quickly blow up the IO, as we kind of saw at top lane. When IO's dead, Tiny gets kind of stranded. And if Rave had just a bit more damage there, they bring down the Tiny as well.
You know, GoDz, I have to say that the one thing that just seems to be a persistent trend with the Legion Commander picks is this hero just does not get farm in the offlane. He's got 19 CS. I can't remember the last time I saw a quick Legion Commander blink. Granted, we don't see the hero much, but this is, I think, part of why the Tiny has to go into a blink of his own, which has worked out reasonably well, but he's going to have trouble keeping up with this anti-mage. Perseverance already picked up, has the next component if he wants to go straight into that broadsword, so you're looking at like a 14-15 minute Battle Fury. No way does Tiny get an Aegis anywhere near that pace. In fact, he's not even going for one. Gets his Bracer, may even go into a Drums next. We'll see if he wants to complete it.
Feels like MVP are a bit conflicted right now. Like they look at this like, okay, we're going to lose around the 25-30 minute stage if we don't deal with this anti-mage and don't take fights now. But at the same time, a hero like Venomancer are going to be building a mech, but this is not a hero really known for his ability to fight around the 50-minute mark. Veno is actually kind of mostly played and fits in as like a late-game magic damage carry type hero where he doesn't really fight until he has that Ag Scepter. He just farms until then. If you get a mech, your mana pool is not really suited to casting mech, ultimate, Gale in a team fight. And I think MVP.Hot6 are kind of like, well, we're just going to make do with what we can here to take fights, otherwise we're losing the anti-mage.
Yeah, mana pool 530. If he's got full mana, he can pop the mech, pop the Poison Nova at level 1, and that's about it. Maybe drop a ward here or there, but not going to be doing a whole lot else. As the orb comes out, the tower will drop into critical HP, and it will fall mid lane. Baton kind of walks his way into this one, but doesn't have that quick blink initiation. So he can't get much done, and it seems for now, Rave, they're okay just to give up towers here or there. They want to go for trades. Although, Jayo may get caught bottom. Is there a relocate coming in? No, doesn't look like it. He doesn't want to give up this tower.
Play. Yeah, he blinks out, just knowing that if he gets Jordan as a relocate, things go poorly here, but they're going to get the tower and the kill. Baton shows up thinking he can defend this, but without a relocate, he's in trouble. Meanwhile, the Lion finds a disruptor here, and they're going to lose Baton to Jo. Manavoy dunks him, gets his Battle Fury money, gets the tower. Jo is on track to be a complete beast this game, with Tread's Battle Fury complete at 12.5 minutes in.
Yeah, and at the same time, as you were pointing out, the finger gets deployed and just ends that disruptor. They're trying to set up a gank here on the mid lane for Evan Heen. Trying to swing around from the backside, but Ryo's in a decent position. Well, not decent enough. Ava toss, and down he goes again. This puck has been preyed upon. But considering they do have a Bat Rider as an initiator, even Ninja Boogie now pick up his urn and probably going for that blink next. It feels like one of those rare games where puck being shut down may not prove to be too devastating.
I feel like the puck is not going to be the key component of this game. I'm a bit surprised he is trying to rush a blink still and hasn't picked up any HP just from treads. I feel like the blink isn't that crucial this game as far as keeping them alive. Later on it's going to be nice as far as finding the Wisp behind the Tiny and looking to actually isolate him, but for now just staying alive with treads, even a casual bracer, would maybe serve him some good here, but big picture-wise, Rave is still doing well, even if maybe Ryu could have itemized differently, and the puck is going to have a... Ultimately, the blink will come in line a bit faster, he'll have a few more deaths, but maybe that blink timing will be able to... something that Rave can kind of fight and play around with.
And at the same time, without this blink on Legion, Jo can just do whatever he wants. He's pushing bottom on his own, now backing off. He took the tower earlier. They haven't been able to punish him, but maybe there's an opening here. Legion Commander... Never mind that. Press the attack is used as Ryo will get tossed up, but dodges some of the incoming stun damage. Can he orb himself to safety? He will be successful in doing so. Now the Death Ward, and bouncing nicely in the middle of this fight. He'll get one, make it two. A good Mana Void coming out. The duel actually goes the way of all heroes. The Bat Rider, 3 dead. It might be 4. The Venom is thrown out. Are there any buybacks coming? It doesn't look like it. 4 dead. It's gonna be 5. A team wipe for Rave. Oh, mama, that is not what MVP.Hot6 were hoping for. And there, all of a sudden, is your Puck Blink Dagger, your Lion up to 1,000 gold, your Anti-Mage now with nearly a completed Vlad's, the Force Staff just about done on Chrissy. Everybody's got a new item after that fight.
Oh boy, that is just catastrophically bad. MVP.Hot6 just... They need to get the jump on the initiation themselves, which is just so hard to do that Tiny has to blow up one hero with his blink initiation. If you don't get that kill, you're in trouble. And that's what happens there. They just don't get the full kill on the puck, and there's no real good follow-up here. They've got no burst damage to follow it up. The Static Storm's kind of nice, offers some control, but Wisp doesn't really have much killing power. Neither does Disruptor. Venomancer is all this kind of slow damage over time, and fighting with a level 1 Poison Nova is just not very impressive in general, and we're seeing kind of Rave just... They're just kind of bullying MVP.Hot6 right now. They've got the firepower. Puck with maxed out nukes and a coil. Lion with a... Didn't even need a finger of that fight. Everything Rave have, even in the Anti-Mage being able to fight with Battle Fury, he does huge right-click damage there. Everyone was grouped up and just getting cleaved down by his Battle Fury.
Yeah, on top of that, Disruptor completely airballed the Static Storm. It was dropped, like, right here, but Witch Doctor just standing just a few hairs to the right, able to channel a full duration Death Ward. It was just kind of a miscue of a fight, and again, I feel like it just comes back to what you said at the start there, which is lack of proper initiation. The only hero that can start off the fight is the Tiny, and this time around, Puck got off the phase shift. So Tiny doesn't get that instant KO to begin the engagement, now his combo's on cooldown. You're fighting 5v5, but your Legion probably isn't doing anything, because he's got to walk in against the Death Ward, against the Napalm, against a lot of just flak basically flying his way. So fight ends up going Rave's way once more, and now sitting on a comfortable, but not overwhelming, 4k gold lead. 8k experience lead, though. That's pretty hefty as they are trying to set up
Jo farming a big stack here of Ancients. May even just go into Roshan after this with the Vlad's pickup. This is just going to be an out-of-control Anti-Mage very soon. He's going to have a Manta style around like 19-20 minutes.
I feel like it might just be one of those games where we don't see Legion Commander win a duel for 30 minutes. No duels won, no Blink Dagger. I don't see when it's coming. If he wins
a duel, it's going to be against Lion or Witch Doctor. Like, that's his options right now.
Yeah.
Ideally, you want to be using on an Anti-Mage. That's like your lockdown that can kind of keep him in place, but you're not winning a duel against him. Not unless it's like a 5v1 scenario.
Here we go. Smoke is going to break with the Radiant Ward here in a moment, but it's not a long enough moment as Lost gets lassoed, mech down, Poison Nova out of the fight. And the chase now is on. They are going to bring in their Tiny Wisp and try to engage here. The toss coming out. The Death Ward does get insta-canceled by a very nice Static Storm. Is that good enough, though? Dubu's dropped his payload. And still Baton looking for a duel, but nobody low enough to actually kill. Now he just wants to run away, even with a nice Static Storm. Insta-cancel on the Death Ward. It ain't going to matter. 4 dead again. Rave just wiping the floor here. MVP.Hot6. Oh, can they get a kill on Jayo? The dunk? Not even close.
Yeah, I mean, half his HP there. Same time, Jayo's not going to be able to bring down the Tiny, but he doesn't mind about that. He's just going to go back to the jungle, has his Yasha completed, and Rave just winning fight after this point. And I feel like this is just a strange way to play the Venomancer. I think that's the one hero I look at this game, and it's like, I don't mind the pick. I think it fit quite nicely, but the strategy with Venomancer should be much more gearing towards the late game. Like, they itemize the Tiny to fight early, and then and the team strategy seems to be, okay, because Tiny's got this blink, let's fight early. Veno, you go for the mech. But mech, to me, is just not a good Veno item, particularly. I mentioned the mana pool issue, but ultimately, I feel like the biggest thing is this hero just wants tier 4 items. He wants an Axe Scepter. He wants a Blink Dagger. He wants, like, a BKB even in a lot of games. So I feel like Venomancer played as a core going this build is just not a very strong way to use the hero.
He hasn't had a huge impact. 1 and 3, they took the tier 1 bottom, but it wasn't particularly quick either. And it does feel like the hero's impact has been fairly low, and of course with the item build, it's not going to ramp up too much in the near future. He is building towards his Aegis now, gets that point booster, but in the meantime, Jayo's set his sights higher. Bigger objectives for him. Going for the rock, slapping him down, and looks like he'll claim a solo Aegis very early on. 19 minutes in, no Radiant Vision of this one, no idea that he's in the pit, and we saw last fight, they can't even really kill Jayo once. Maybe if 5 catch him out with the duel, but good luck killing him twice, gods. Good luck with that.
He'll be the Aegis claimer, and, well, his farm just gonna keep getting out of control here. So, Tiny Axe Scepter, maybe halfway completed, yeah. So he's got drums, blink treads, and 2.5k.
And he's got the point booster on the courier. He actually almost has it.
Okay, that's good news. So he's just 400 away. They need stacks as much as possible. The Ancient's currently just the one thing there.
Jayo actually blinks into for it, but then again, it's actually Heen who may be in trouble here. He's got the Aegis. He will be Galed as well. And when Jayo can just strut confidently up into your jungle into 3 heroes at sub 20 minutes as an anti-mage, that is not a good sign for your chances of turning this one around. There will be a relocate top, though. They dropped a Static Storm. They want to kill off. Right, actually, the Anthem relocate gets canceled. Jayo able to drop that Mana Void. They get nothing. Now they're going to bring down the Disruptor as well. Oh, from bad to worse here. From worse to awful. However you want to look at it. They've even got a coil. Baton maybe goes down here top. No, they're going to let him scurry away. Worried about reinforcements at the tier 1 as Borev will be wrangled, pulled up and down the cliff, and now trapped in an awkward predicament where a Death Ward is waiting from Cast. Look at it go, man. They get the kill there as well. Oh, man. Styling doesn't even begin to describe how hard Rave are outplaying MVP.Hot6 right now.
That was such a cool spot to leave him as well. Jayo's not done, by the way. Him and Ninja Boo are going to find MP's Venomancer. Jayo just needs a couple more right clicks. Out of mana, though, gets healed up a bit by the Wisp, and Jayo decides, it's not worth my trouble. Let's get out of there. But that lasso place was just perfect. On, like, a cliff, but where he left him trapped with the trees around, despite having kind of Fireflight over there, and just really nice execution coming out from Rave. Great individual play as well.
Oh, circled the wrong spot. Yeah, that was just beautiful to watch. And in general, everything that Rave has shown us this game has been just smooth, calm, collected play, very few mistakes, confident aggression. They're not just like slowly accumulating lead, they are just taking huge chunks of territory and giving no quarter in return. At long last, the blink comes out for Baton, but what can he really do with it? There are some dual targets, the Lion, maybe the Puck or the Witch Doctor if they have the +1 to kill the Puck, but realistically, they're losing their map control. They're right now looking at the Radiant Vision. They just don't have it. So if they spot a dual target, it's probably only because that hero has someone backing him up. Like they see Jayo top lane now, they maybe go on him, but
Rave sees everything here as well. They've got this high ground ward near this top tier 2 tower, so this is going to be a really bad fight if a fight breaks. And Rave are only going to take this if they have numbers and they know they can win it. They've got the Aegis on their side, so they may decide to try and find a Blink Lasso.
Dubu. Oh, again, that ward spotting all these rotations as Jo confidently surges in. Static Storm will be dropped, but there's nothing to follow up. Baton has a duel. It seems like they're thinking about going on Jo. He'll be Abba-tossed. No duel. He manages to make his way out. In the meantime, your Puck as well as Lion forcing Heen off of the fight. Everybody going to retreat safely. There will be no deaths yet, but Forev isn't finished. He's going to pop drums. He blinks forward, losing his Wisp in the process, getting nothing in return. Everybody frantically dancing and scurrying here and there, but miraculously,
you just can't fight around this area.
No
when Rave have a ward there, like all these little juke spots, all these tree paths where MVP.Hot6 thinks they're trying to use all these like little fog places, and it doesn't work. Rave have vision, they have complete control, and you're not going to find a kill anywhere. It's just Jo forcing MVP.Hot6 back. Doesn't actually find any kills, so MVP.Hot6 at least going to be thankful that they don't give up any casualties there, but they're not coming close to killing Jo. Or finding any of these other heroes like the Puck, who almost kills off the EO there.
Very impressive. Rave just feels like they're outclassing MVP right now.
Yeah.
From a very solid draft. I wouldn't say MVP's draft is bad, but especially just running the Venom safely with the itemization. I still feel like with the offlane Legion Commander that you have to do something to get him into the game. If he's the one who's running around trying to start the fight as an offlane position, most of the time he's not going to be able to do it. He's never going to farm a Blink against a reasonably strong dual or tri-lane, and once again, that hero struggles. But outside of that, it's just been, I'd say, like 80-90% pure outplay here from Rave.
Legion just seems like one of those, like, it's the poor man's Batrider in a lot of ways as far as where the hero fits, and does have that nice kind of slight versatility with the heal, the purify, kind of the repel, whatever his spell is, the press the attack, where you can actually purge off some spells, but ultimately the hero just doesn't farm as fast as the Batrider, can't jungle, doesn't have the same map control, and we're seeing just, that's where the big difference this game has come. What the Batrider has offered versus what the LC has been able to accomplish, and it's just miles between the two.
Rave gonna take over the enemy jungle, continue their occupation, and to go with the ward of this hill, they've now dropped down a beautiful one in the Radiant jungle, and it's generally not a good sign when you smoke from within your base, but that's what MVP are forced to do now. They're gonna make their move. Rave very far back, and with the Batrider with a BKB gem flying high over the team, not going to be easy to find any pickoffs.
Jo 5k picks up the Reaver. This is pretty much the I'm now invulnerable, have fun killing me build. He's not going to be able to end the game as fast off of a one team fight, but it's kind of like the safe option as it gives MVP.Hot6 really no way back into the game. If they can't gank the anti-mage, they can't kill the anti-mage at all unless Tiny somehow just farms and gets 6 slotted, but for the next 10 minutes, 15 minutes of this game, Jo is just more or less invincible.
Well, he's moving like it. We saw it earlier, even when he just had the Vlads and Battle Fury and the Aegis. And with the heart about to come out, no sign that that'll stop. As it turns out, GoDz, it's an MVP.Hot6 smoke into an avalanche on a creep wave and maybe one club on a tower. No, Forev doesn't even want to get that one swipe off. He pops a drum charge. He really needs to scurry out of here. Heen waiting for a defensive relocate. They did get some good wards down, but they do catch the Tiny. The Wisp abandoning Forev. They even have a coil here if they want to drop it. Ryo orbing forward. He's going to deploy that coil. Now the Wisp moves into position. Do they get eyes on Heen? Do they stop this relocate out? Well, Veno Gale coming out. Going to prevent easy pursuit, but they'll just finger Wisp down instead. No Blink Dagger forthcoming. And oh, by the way, Anti-Magus in your base, killing off your Disruptor. This is going to be, if not a lane of Rex, then a tier 3 dropping very low.
And that's Tiny. That was this distraction top. I'm watching this fight top, then something like, what? Okay, Anti-Mage, he's at the tier 4, he's getting a kill. Tiny has to walk back as well because he's being kept in place by a Puck, and they won't get the tier 3, but a lot of damage done, and that just kind of sums up the state of this game. No comeback in sight, no comeback possible anymore for MVP.Hot6.
Heart now delivered. He's going to blink on in onto Lost, and well, mana issues beginning to stack up for him, even with that point booster. No ultimate available. Jo, the siege engine in the front line, slicing and dicing. He will be irritated by some Venomancer nukes, but continues nonetheless. The lasso is ready again, and they're going to make their way into the high ground. Batrider searching for that easy initiate. Radiant team did spot the Firefly, though, so he won't find an opening, but no problemo. Just back off, wait for a better opportunity.
Yeah. May go for Roshan in the next couple of minutes if they want to. They don't know the timing, of course, but we'll be up in the next 3 minutes, and Rave may just be saying, Aegis is pretty much, that's it. We go high ground with that. They can probably go high ground without it with the Anti-Mage's level of farm. He's going to have, if he wants, like a butterfly in the next 3 or 4 minutes as well. So things just looking amazing for Rave. All across the board, everyone is just farmed out of control. 4Rave just needs to be buying whatever item he can. Get the AC ASAP. This is the stage of the game where you can't be considering having buybacks, because if you're buying back to save your racks, you're never getting any items to get you back in the game.
Oh man, that creep just got wrecked.
Was that the Yules to last hit it?
Yeah, he Yules last hit the creep. Ryo just swagging on, even on his own team now.
Like, I'll take that creep. What are you doing, Ninja Boogie? You don't get any farm.
You're a support. Get back in line. You'll eat after I have. And not a moment before. Okay, here comes Ryo. He moves in. He scouts out 3 heroes. They're worried about a Roshan. See you later, Ryo. Keen. Oh, not only removed from his old team, but now struggling to find success on the new one. It's not been his past couple of weeks. That's for damn sure.
Yeah. So
that was painful.
As far as what MVP.Hot6 can do right now, I feel like Tiny just sell your Blink Dagger to complete the AC is probably in your best interest, just because mobility and finding a kill isn't going to be the problem. It's just going to be about doing as much damage as a carry as possible. Otherwise, smoke ganks in general just are unlikely to work because Rave are taking objectives. They're often grouped up or at least in position to back one another up. You've got BKBs on your Bat Rider, your Puck's elusive. The Bat, the Puck, the Anti-Mage, just all kind of unkillable unless you get them with a Blink Duel, which is just such a kind of long shot at this point for MVP.Hot6. So I think it's just sit back, get as much farm out of the map as possible, try and complete your AC on your Tiny ASAP, and use Split Push. You can't actually fight into Rave, but Rave are going to try force that with this Aegis.
Well, freebie Aegis, an 8k gold lead and rising for Jo if he gets this Roche last hit. Make it closer to a 9k gold lead now. He'll blink down to the south side, and they'll waste no time in moving into this bottom lane. GoDz, they might want to try to stall, but I don't think Rave are going to let him. Here we go.
It seems unlikely. This bottom tier 3 already very, very low. High ground defense is pretty abysmal on the MVP.Hot6 side. This is the stage of the game where Plague Wards, they don't defend towers. They either get ignored because they do 0 damage at all, Jo will just hit the tower, or he just 2-shots them. But he's just going to go right into the tower. Not the best wave clear. You've got overwhelming odds, but at the end of the day, it's not wave clear. It's dealing with Jo. That's the problem.
He does blink in, but he baits out a Static Storm. He still has Aegis, gets Avatos, then the Impale comes out, disrupts any potential for a duel, as Baton will get muscled down by Jo. In the meantime, a Death Ward. They bring down the Tiny next, it looks like. The Ward bouncing, Mana Void to end him. Ninja Boogie drops low to this, but it's now the Wisp dead as well, quickly dealt with by the Puck. Ryo has had eyes on him, and now the chase into the well. The GGs come out. Rave just playing with their food, and finally, they decide to eat it. MVP.Hot6 getting run over here in game 1.
Yeah.
Brutal.
25k gold lead, 30k plus XP lead. MVP.Hot6 thought they had this timing where they could fight. They got the blink on Tiny, they went for the mech on Venomancer, but Rave just outmaneuvered them and just styled on them. That was just mostly outplay, but I do feel like MVP.Hot6 didn't really play around what was a pretty... I thought they had a decent draft. Like, I think Rave had the slightly overall stronger draft just because of the Bat Rider factor being a much stronger hero than an LC. But I think aside from that, I think Rave, the core Venomancer is a good hero, just they didn't play to the Venomancer's strengths.
I did like Forev going for the Blink Dagger that game. Like, if he just goes for an Axe, they have no pressure on the map at all. But again, that goes back to the Legion Commander pick. Like, Tiny shouldn't be forced to do that, and if he does go for it, he should have a partner who can also help him set up kills.
Yeah. I think you want the Tiny to go for the Blink to create space for Veno to farm, because the Veno takes a lot longer to come online. He actually needs a lot of farm, which is kind of the crazy thing about a Veno. He needs more farm than some carries before he comes online nowadays with how he's played. It's not like just he needs that Axe basically, and on top of like your other basic items. So possibly just trying too hard to put pressure on an Anti-Mage draft, which they didn't really have an answer to by going for the mech.
Well, GoDz, with that said, Rave, they came into this series as favorites, and to nobody's surprise, they take game 1. MVP.Hot6 not out of it, waiting on their official 5th Jerex to arrive in Korea, and as a result, perhaps struggling here. But it'll be game 2 coming up next. It's not an elimination match, but it is going to knock the loser down to the lower brackets. So with that said, guys, thank you for watching the Summit 3. I'm LD. He's GoDz. We'll be right back for game number 2.